make sure is that you get the volume up on that speaker back there so it records. That's the one we're starting with, right? Is that what it said? Yeah, that's... Well, back to the... It says intro, outro, right?
Is Christie the governor?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, I know. He blows hot and cold at me.
It doesn't say. This says intro. None of them say intro, but one says outro. Okay, so the other one's intro. Which other one? Maybe I didn't put it in. It's not there. All right, hold on. I'll just put this in. No, hold on. No, you're not. Wait a second.
Dunkin' Donuts is.
Actually, you're a vegan. You can't have two.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, jeez. Start by... No, it says we'll start by saying... No, that's not it. Hold on. Maybe I cut it and didn't paste it.
Have you ever done one of these before?
No, not.
Okay, I got it. I never pasted
I have
it.
to
Sorry.
play.
It's on. It's on. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Play the show started.
Don't do it. You can talk. Go down. Where's the show? I just put it on. I just added it. No, reset the page. Roll it real quick. Just scroll down. Just say hello and give me a minute. Go down. Open it. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kevin Storm Show. Mom, you're telling me to scroll down. I can't do anything quicker than the computer will. I just now added view. Okay, well, we won't be able to play a song in the beginning because my mom forgot to post it, so... No, I didn't forget. It's there now. We'll just start with birthdays. Start birthdays and then play a song. Doggone it. Where's the mouse? I'm there. Still being on the keypad. Okay, so... Today's birthdays include Jade S. How do you say that? I forgot. Kwai. Hi, Jade. Gina Renzi and Carlo Lenzi. Monday is my mom's birthday, Roberto Bernelli and Susie Crandall. And Friday is Janet Boy Louse or Luce?
Where?
How'd you say that?
Loose? Boy Loose.
Okay. So, today's guests are Susie Duncan Sexton and her son Roy Sexton. Susie is an award-winning author from Columbia City, Indiana. She is the author of Secrets of an Old Typewriter. She's also an educator and public speaker. Roy Sexton is an author, singer, and blogger. You can find his blog at Real Roy Reviews. You found the song yet?
No, I don't know what happened to it. It's on my phone. No, I could show it to you. Well, I guess then
Go sit and...
at some
Co-host.
point you're gonna have to play. So just keep looking.
Okay, well... So...
Go ahead.
Let's start with your veganism, Susie. How long have you been vegan, and what inspired you to go vegan?
Well, Roy inspired me to go vegan. And being on Facebook and learning about how important such an action is, and I've never really enjoyed eating meat ever in my life, and I thought this is something I could do to probably counteract the climate change we're all enduring. When I began to research, so between Roy and me getting on Facebook and seeing that a large portion of the world is smart enough to stop eating animals, I suppose that was really my motivation. And I love animals. I can't imagine why one species would eat the other. I know Darwin would explain that to me, but it's not really something that I believe human beings who supposedly we're supposed to be bright and I hope peaceful, and so I think it would be smart for everybody to stop eating animals.
Go ahead. What
So what type of activism do you do? Like, do you go to protests, potlucks? Do you pass out flyers at events, like circuses?
Well, when you talk about potlucks, in this community, which is a farm community and a 4-H community, we have, here in Hoosierland, we say fish fries, and we have hog roast, and we have porta-pit chicken celebrations, and I've done my best without alienating people, I hope too much, trying to suggest, especially if it's a humane shelter activity, why not have a nice vegan menu, because why kill one animal and eat it to celebrate or to raise funds for another? Every species is equally important. So I've done that. But it was just blogging and conversations. But as far as my protesting I laugh sometimes when I say, "Don't you dare," with a ski mask and wire cutters. I haven't done that. I have gone to our state capitol in Minneapolis to a couple of events and spoken on behalf of animals and learned how one goes about getting engaged in activities to enlighten the public, and you can easily, as they say, alienate people, and that's not helpful to the animals. So I
think, and I want to add in there, Kevin, I think one of the things my mom does, and it's interesting to watch you and your mom and what you guys are doing with this radio show. When I was your age, my mom and dad and I, we would do a lot of stuff together like you guys are doing, and our whole life as a family has been getting our message out through things that we like to do, whether it's theater or writing. So my mom has written a couple of columns for at least 5 to 6 years now. She started with letters to the editor before that, and she writes about growing up in a small town. She writes about movies. She writes about arts and culture, but she also weaves in messages about caring for animals, loving animals, thinking about animals as having souls, as living creatures that we should treat as respectfully as we treat each other. So I think one of her forms of protest, and it's been rather effective because she's gathered up nearly 5,000 followers on Facebook and Twitter and other social media, people who like her message because it's about living this life fully and also being appreciative of every creature around us. So I think her form of protest has been primarily through the written word, by appearing on radio programs, some television appearances, and it's always part of her message when she's out there talking about her books or growing up in Indiana or whatever it is. Always one of the first things that comes up in conversation.
Yeah, that's my way of lobbying, isn't it, Roy?
Yeah, I think so. So we applaud you and your mom, Kevin, for what you're doing as well. I think the more people who are out there doing this kind of thing,
yes.
And using social media, so you have your radio show, it airs, people hear it in real time, but then you post the clip on YouTube, you share it on social media, so more people are hearing the message that way. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate the compliment.
Sure.
Mom had a question.
What type of theater have you done?
Well, it's interesting. Again, that's a constant in our family's life. My mom, when she was in high school and college, and thereafter did a lot of theater herself. She worked with Wagon Wheel, which is a professional theater company in Warsaw. She also did work in high school, production of Bye Bye Birdie, and then at Ball State University, and then with First Pres and other theater companies in Fort Wayne when I was a baby. And then I really didn't get into theater. I honestly, this is going to sound not very nice, I didn't like the theater kids in high school. They just weren't my kind of kids. They were just a little too full of themselves, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I ran like heck away from theater in high school, but when I got to Wabash College, I was an English major. I was doing a lot with Shakespeare. They were doing a production of Merchant of Venice, and I thought, well, if I'm writing about Shakespeare, I should be in something, and that was when the bug hit me. And it still seems like yesterday, but 20 plus years ago. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and I've done a lot in Indiana. I got my master's in theater from Ohio State, so I did a number of shows in Columbus, Ohio, and I've lived in Metro Detroit for about 15 years, so I've done a lot with a lot of the community theaters. And about 5 years ago, some friends of mine and I started our own theater group here in Ann Arbor called the Penny Seats, and our website is pennyseats.com, pennyseats.org, rather not .com, sorry, I just get confused. And we've done a musical every summer in a local amphitheater, and then we do another show in the fall. We just did a musical review called Tomfoolery. So I keep busy with that. My parents have been wonderfully supportive, especially because my mom knows how much work goes into these things because she's done them herself. So they've always been my biggest fans in that regard.
I think we have a sample of something you did, so if we could play that real quick. Kevin, you got that? Can you explain what that event was and, like...
It looks like you're singing in a library.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, when you follow my mother and I, you'll see a lot of clips where you'll be going, I wonder what they're doing. Where are they? Why are they doing that? Yes, this is your future, Kevin. What we did, we've both been, my mom wrote her books first, and then the publishing company picked up my movie reviews and put them in blog form or book form. And so last year in Ann Arbor, we had a few book launch events for my book, and that event was held at Bookbound, which is, there aren't that many independent bookstores anymore, and the gentleman and his wife who started Bookbound used to be the buyers for Borders books, and Borders rather famously went out of business a few years ago. They started here in Ann Arbor. He was the buyer of all of the discount books, so if you ever went to Borders and you would be caught in that first chunk of books that were $3 or $4, and if you're like me, you can walk out with 3 bags of books. He bought for the company the titles they had there. So he started his own bookstore here in Ann Arbor where they are a discount bookseller. He said, hey, you've got this new book, why don't you come do a cabaret? I know you do theater, sing some of your favorite songs, and my folks came to that as well. And so in my book, my mom has an essay about a movie called Penny Serenade, and I wrote an essay about that movie as well. So you see that both of our perspectives on this movie from, I want to say it's the 30s or 40s, I can't remember when it was made, with Cary Grant and Irene Dunn, about a couple who adopt a child and go through the challenges of life. So it was a really special event where we both shared kind of our love of movies and stuff that we enjoy. My friend Rebecca Biber played the piano. I sang songs. So those clips are from that event. We probably had 30 people crammed into this little tiny bookstore. All of my friends that they tricked into coming to it, but they were very supportive, so it was a lot of fun.
Susie, can you tell us about poetic resonance imaging?
Poetic resonance imaging.
Yeah,
So I can add, and then she can take it from there. I worked at Oakwood Healthcare, a hospital system, and every year they did a compilation of creative writing by local regional authors. Michael Madigan is a good friend of ours, and he was the editor of that, and he selected some of my mother's work for that. I don't know, you remember Michael, Susie? He came to the book launch you did with Richard, and so maybe you want to talk about Michael and Richard a little bit.
Michael and Richard were at Ann Arbor when we drove up there. It takes us a couple of hours. We drove up there to a senior citizen center, and the room was full of folks, and I read an excerpt from my first book, Secrets of an Old Typewriter. Second one is called More Secrets of an Old Typewriter, and it was just about to debut within the next couple of days from that event. And I subtitled that second book, Misunderstood Gargoyles and Overrated Angels, because I thought that would be a really interesting title, since I talk about so many people who have filtered through my life and I theirs, and whether locally or whether on Facebook or whether on the college level or whatever environment I found myself in. But primarily local color, nostalgia about this community in Indiana in which I have lived most all of my life. And so it was fun to go up there to Ann Arbor because this fellow Michael Madigan has a wonderful seminar series going where he invites people in the community to come and learn how to write prose or poetry, fiction, all types of literature. And they meet and have fun and have an instructor and experiment. And so eventually then, each year, I believe, is it annually, Roy?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
He puts together, with the help of a professor from
Wayne State.
Wayne State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they put together a beautiful compilation. And one item that was included, I think I had maybe 3 or 4 poems in one of their editions, and I don't remember what the professor called this type of artistic endeavor, but he took a line from every poem that had been selected for this issue and strung them together, and it's the most fabulous poem when you get done reading through it. You know, they carefully selected, I believe it was just one line from each poem, because I think I'm responsible for maybe 4 or 5 lines, and I got such a bang out of that. I think that's maybe how he concluded it, and I don't remember what he said was the name for that.
Yeah, there was an expression for it, and I can't think. And if you're interested in reading, so my mom's website, I'm just going to keep rattling off websites. I'm a marketer by day, so I'm always telling people to go to websites. My mom's website is SusieDuncanSexton.com, SusieDuncansexton.com, all one word. And the link to the digital version of that publication is on her website for free.
Okay,
so if you want to check it out and read it, and we probably both should look at it again to remind ourselves what was in there. It's been a couple years, but I think
really, you know, I sound vain right now, but really, it's a wonderful compilation. I was just thrilled to be included, and it was fun to meet the man who's responsible for this. I believe, I don't know how many editions is turned out on you know, of these, but I was truly thrilled to be included.
My mom was included in another collection. You know, I live about 2.5 hours away from my parents who are in northern Indiana, and so sometimes opportunities arise up here, and I send them my mom's way. There was another publication that Dearborn Library put together called Call of the Wild, Animal Tales. It was just published last year, and my mother had a wonderful essay she wrote about 2 beautiful dogs they rescued, Jack and Zelda, in that publication, and that's probably one to check out as well. I will warn you, when we went to the reading, and some wonderful essays written by people who clearly love animals, but the editor was using the animal theme pretty loosely because there were also a couple people who got up and started reading about how they love to hunt, and I thought my mother was about to jump out of her chair and straighten them out. I'm not sure she was. I think she was thrilled to be included in that collection, but I think she'd like to edit a few things out of it if she had her druthers. But I think, you know, when you're out there and you're writing and people have an interest in you, it's really fun to see, again, who sparks off your idea, who includes you, and your message is being included in a larger publication. It's not all about you, but someone might read my mother's poem or my movie review or an essay she wrote about animals in context of something else, and that will sow a seed of, you know what, I think it's time for me to be kinder to animals and to think about them first.
Well, what was interesting, too, tell him about the cover of the book.
So the cover of this book, so the essay, like I said, is about their dogs, Jack and Zelda, who unfortunately are no longer living. But the photo they selected for the cover of the book is a photo of Jack and Zelda. Jack and Zelda were 2 rescue dogs. They may have already bonded when my parents got them. We're not sure what their story picture of the two of them just kind of staring at each other, laying face to face, and that's what they used for the cover, and we were just so thrilled about that. We were thrilled that my mom had an essay in there, but then they said, oh, and by the way, in fact, I don't even think they told us. I think they sent me a copy of the cover, and I said, oh my goodness, that's my mother's photo, and they said, oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Yes, thank you. We're very thrilled by that. So, really nice fellow who put that together. Not
and that book is sold all over the United States because Ann Arbor is a cultural capital of the Midwest, and Henry Ford, right? No, what?
It's Dearborn. It's the Dearborn Public Library.
Excuse me, it wasn't that was Dearborn.
Amazon. Yeah, and it's also, there's a link to that on my mom's website.
Ann Arbor is the cultural capital. Dearborn is Henry Ford's hometown.
Right, yeah.
Excuse me.
No, that's all right.
I'm from Indiana. I don't know much.
Yeah.
Okay, we were curious about, when you do speaking engagements and, if veganism does come up or animal rights, like, do you get other opportunities to speak on your feelings about animal rights?
Yeah, my mom speaks, I would say my mom speaks on animal rights any and every chance she gets, and I'll let her take it from there, but I will say this, you have to kind of keep the context in mind that whereas I live in Ann Arbor, and I can find a vegetarian restaurant every time I throw a rock.
Wonderful.
My parents live in a very small farming community, and that community has made its living on animal products in addition to agriculture. And I'm not going to disparage that necessarily, but I think it's that much harder for my mom and more courageous for her to say what she says. And so she's not being invited to the Chamber of Commerce to talk about this topic, but when she goes, so she will go to a lot of book events. She's been invited to the Fort Wayne Library, the Columbia City Library, to do readings of her work. She's come up here for various events. She's done a lot of these radio programs. Social media has done a lot of good in connecting all of us who have shared perspectives across the country. So she has been asked to like lovely opportunities like this where you've asked us. We've never done this together, by the way. That's probably why we're not as coordinated as we might like to be. But she's gotten asked to get in a lot of these kinds of programs. And again, whenever, even if they've invited her to talk about something absolutely unrelated, the topic of animal rights will come up.
That's my main reason for writing probably ever in the first place, because when I started writing my letters to the editor, I was interested in the presidential campaign of, 20, when Hillary was trying to get the nomination. I got so interested, and then I was also at the same time realizing that my calling, probably, speaking of call a while, is animals. I've had animals in my life as long as I can remember, and it's taken me this long to awaken the sleeping soul that I've been. I enjoyed animals. I didn't realize the plight of animals. I didn't realize that it would be so easy to stop eating meat. I didn't realize any of that until the last couple of years. And I think that's why it's such an interesting approach you have to engage in with the masses of humanity, because there's so much guilt people have already for having consumed animals without thought.
Susie.
And you've got to awaken those who have been asleep and try to turn that apathy into empathy.
Susie.
Please. That's how we can solve the hugest problem and the saddest terror.
We have to put you guys on hold real quick so we can switch phones.
And everything else will fall in line. And so,
Technical difficulty, hold on.
one way or another.
Okay, there you go.
That's part of my message, no matter what I'm writing about or what I've been asked to speak about.
Oh, now we can hear it. Okay, we had a very minor technical difficulty there for a second, but we had to switch lines that you were on, but we only missed like a word and a half, so you're good there. Kevin, did you have something else you wanted to talk about?
I did. Are you a member of any like social groups As far
Any
as
activist groups, anything
activism,
specific that you,
veganism, anything groups like that.
any you wanna promote?
Oh, I'll tell you, yes, I do. Here's another way Roy led me by the hand and the mind. There was a situation locally where a newspaper reporter, who's one of the nicest fellows in the world, young fellow, very intelligent, put into a couple of newspaper articles that there was a situation where some 250 geese were going to be euthanized, which my veterinarian told me that's not possible. You can't really euthanize geese. So what they do is put them all in a paddy wagon, at which time 50% of them probably have heart attacks because that's the way they're wired. And there's no place on a goose where you could inject something that would euthanize them. So that was not truth in advertising. So these geese were considered pests by lake residents. And I thought, isn't that neat that he put this in a paper at a time when that was kind of acceptable for somebody to think along those lines. And I decided maybe I should get involved with that. And we ended up, after starting a group called Squawkback, saving those geese for that spring. Was it in the spring or the summer they were going to do that?
It was in the spring of, I was in a production of Oklahoma, so this is where the theater and the non-theater overlap. I was in a production of Oklahoma, I think it was 2010. And we were rehearsing that at the same time as this situation was going on in the spring. And so what we did was we started a group, and I would encourage folks on Facebook to seek it out. It's Squawkback, SUUAWK, and it'll be obvious when you find the group that it's an animal rights group. It started with a lot of local residents who also were upset about this. And it's interesting, when you live a few hours away and it's your hometown and you get involved, you get a lot of feedback from people saying, well, you're not local, it's not your problem. And I would argue, yes, but it's the earth, and it's all of our problems. And it's on my radar now. It's on my radar, so I'm going to get involved. So we launched a pretty aggressive, but as positive as we could, PR campaign with letters, with contacting local media. We got a lot of media attention. A woman who is the aunt of a cousin of the woman that I was in Oklahoma with, wrote for the Huffington Post at the time, and she put something in the Huffington Post. So your network suddenly gets really energized when you're using social media to do this stuff. My mom was out front. She was attending the events locally that I couldn't attend. She was, posting on her own pages regularly. And this is before the books and before a lot of the other pieces. So it predated that. And I think we were such a pain in the butt that we got it turned around. The homeowner association rescinded the decision to exterminate these geese, and they have not revisited that. Hopefully we're not priming the pump now talking about it. But, and so that group went from a group of, 100 local people who were upset about this issue to now 3,000 people worldwide. And the group now is a clearinghouse for all manner of animal issues, petitions, rescue, anything anybody wants. I have a bit of a contradiction, I guess, with a lot of the other animal rights folks on Facebook who will create a group and say, this group is only to discuss one issue. I don't think we can be that neat and clean about it. I feel like if you care about animals, here is a place where you can share that information. If people want to talk about it, if they want to share, if they want to help you out because they've had a similar experience in another community, that's how we can share best practices.
And this is going on all over the nation. We thought we were doing something new, and we weren't, and it needed to be done. And there were people who were not happy. But mostly we discovered wonderful human beings who were the impetus of a group being created where this could be expressed, that people could work together toward a positive cause about this particular species. There's a wonderful movie that I've written about it.
Susie?
It's called Speciesism.
Hello.
The movie.
Hold on.
Because every species is truly as important as every other species. So if you believe, you either believe in killing or you don't believe in killing. I don't think there's any middle ground on that. I think that's an either or. And you have to ask yourself, if you think it's all right to kill any living being, you might need to.
You gotta keep trying.
You might need to revisit your. Well, how you think about that and adjust because.
Okay,
We
guys.
apologize.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We were supposed to make a big
We have major news.
Well, we're just not gonna be here.
Yeah.
Wait, you'll have to see the website.
Yeah.
Talk.
Stay tuned to the website. Because it's the KevinStormShow.com because today is our last show. So.
Now they can hear you. Yeah, sorry guys, we ran overtime here. We need to let you go. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, it was wonderful talking to you.
Thanks for having us on. We sure appreciate it. And good, best of luck in your future endeavors.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye. You too. We'll have you on again.
Well, that was a pretty good show for our final show, but we went overtime, so we're gonna play our ending song, which is Vegan Paradise by Vegan Minstrel.
And John Sekars.
And John Sekars. So thank you all for listening, and stay tuned to the website.
Dude, smile at the camera. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, it's not, you're not on, hold on. Wait. I love the sound of the rooster on there. The camera's so messed up. We need a new camera. There it goes. Okay, now say goodbye.
Bye.